Well, it's definitely not how I thought it would play out. I don't think the tariffs on Sunday have been punted. We weren't going to apply those. That had been decided a while ago. It seems if the president is really going to agree to a deal, that this is a big rush. We just had USMCA. We didn't have a deal last week. If the president has really agreed, it's a big surprise that it would pull together so quickly.
Why do you say that? I mean, it doesn't feel quick to me. It feels like it's been going on now for the better part of 18 months or longer.
Well, right. But we made an offer last week to the Chinese about reducing tariffs. And their response in terms of what they were offering the United States in return was inadequate. It was seen as inadequate by the administration. And that was the last exchange of offers. There hasn't been a visit to Washington. There hasn't been a visit to Beijing. So if the president really does sign off on this, the question is, what exactly is in the deal that got us from last week, where we were still talking, to this week, where we're done in such a short period of time?
Where is the reciprocality, a favorite word of the president's when it comes to trade? In this, I mean, it appears that there will be substantial purchases of agricultural product, but beyond that, the details are sketchy, Derek.
Right. We had the baseline of a deal. Remember, the president said in October, we have a deal, we'll have text in 3 to 4 weeks, which is, makes a lot of people wonder what we're going to hear from him today. And in that baseline deal, there was a currency provision, which really didn't do anything. There was an IP provision, which really didn't do anything. There was greater access to financial services in China, and there were those ag purchases you were talking about. But if that's all we got, we should have been done in October. So the question here is, if the president is signing off on it, which we haven't seen yet, but if he is, what put us over the top? What's the key concession that made him change his mind?
And what do you think of the market's reaction to this? Now we're up 200 points. We've seen the movement back and forth, higher and lower, based on what the trade headlines indicate day of. In this case, what do you think is actually relevant to moving the markets higher and lifting optimism over the economy, not only in the United States, but globally?
Well, I think there's a positive global effect where, a lot of disruption of trade was thought to be on the table. I'm not sure the phase one deal will end that, but it reduces the odds of a short-term sharp trade disruption. I think that, the other parts are, obviously there's agricultural sales in this. There could be energy sales. So certain sectors of the U.S. economy will do better. As a macroeconomic impact, it's tiny. Trade exports to China just don't matter to the United States very much. So I think the market would be responding either to global improvement or specific sector improvements, not a macroeconomic improvement.
You're right on the macro level. If you're looking at the whole impact, maybe that's true, but it certainly matters to farmers who sell and grow soybeans. It certainly matters to those who grow and sell cotton, and the tobacco farmers and the bourbon producers in Kentucky. Like this issue of trade hangs heavily over certain industries in the United States. When we're looking at trade, too, it's not just China. We are now embroiled once again in issues of new tariffs on countries coming out of South America. You've got issues on trade with the European Union right now. What needs to happen in 2020 to see a lot of this resolve?
Well, I don't think you can get it resolved in an election year. If we have a China deal the president endorses and sticks to, which I think is a very big question about 2020, if USMCA passes the Senate, which hopefully will happen next month, we've taken care of the big issues. Yes, there are other countries. There's the 232 auto tariffs on Europe, but Canada, then Mexico, then China are our top 3 trade partners. That's as much as you can do to boost the U.S. economy if you have deals that stick with those countries. I think politically there's going to be a problem during the election year because President Trump said he was going to bring manufacturing jobs back to the U.S. and cut the trade deficit. That's not what this deal does. So the staying power of this deal is in question. If it sticks, the U.S. has deals with its top 3 trade partners. That's as far as we're going to get in an election year.